The fluorescent lights of Blackwood Creative Agency hummed their monotonous tune as Maya Chen hunched over her desk, eyes burning from another 12-hour shift. Her fingers flew across the digital tablet, bringing to life a campaign that could revolutionize intergalactic marketing. Around her, the office had emptied hours ago, leaving only the distant whir of the cleaning robots and the pounding of her own heart. 3 years. 3 years of pouring her soul into designs that others took credit for, of watching Ethan Blackwood stride past her desk without a single glance, of being the invisible woman in a sea of loud, ambitious colleagues. Maya had long ago accepted her role as the agency's ghost, present but unseen, talented but unacknowledged. She leaned back, studying the holographic display floating above her desk. The design was her best work yet, a fusion of human creativity and alien aesthetics that would appeal to the newly contacted Zeprian Trade Federation. Every curve, every color gradient, every symbolic element had been researched and refined through countless sleepless nights. Still here, Chen? Derek Hamilton's voice cut through her concentration like a blade. The creative director appeared beside her desk, his smile predatory and cold. You really should get a life outside these walls. Maya saved her work quickly, but not quickly enough. Derek's eyes had already scanned her screens, that calculating look she'd learned to dread spreading across his face. Interesting concept, he said casually, though his fingers were already photographing her work with his neural implant. Very ambitious for someone at your level. Thank you, Maya managed, her voice barely above a whisper. She'd learned that fighting back only made things worse. Don't stay too late, Derek called over his shoulder as he walked away. Wouldn't want you to burn out before the big presentation tomorrow. The presentation. Maya's stomach twisted. She knew what would happen, it always did. Derek would present her work as his own, Ethan would praise his brilliance, and she would remain invisible, her contributions erased by a man who wouldn't recognize true creativity if it struck him in the face. She gathered her things mechanically, the weight of 3 years of stolen dreams pressing down on her shoulders. The elevator descended in silence, and Maya found herself thinking, not for the first time, about simply walking away from it all. The lobby was dark except for the security lights casting long shadows across the marble floor. Maya was halfway to the exit when she noticed her, a figure standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows, her skin a luminescent shade of purple that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. You work very late, the woman said, her voice carrying an otherworldly resonance that made Maya's skin tingle. I am Zara, consultant for the Zeprian project. Maya had heard rumors that an alien representative was coming, but seeing Zara in person was breathtaking. She moved with a grace that seemed to defy physics, and her eyes, large and knowing, seemed to see straight through Maya's carefully constructed walls. I'm Maya, she replied, finding her voice. I work in design. Just? Zara tilted her head, a gesture that seemed curious and almost amused. There is no just about what you do. I have been observing your species' creative output. You possess something rare. Maya felt tears prickling at her eyes, unexpected and unwanted. When was the last time anyone had acknowledged her work? Thank you, she whispered. The man who was at your desk earlier, Zara continued, moving closer. He does not create. He takes. I can sense these things, it is a gift of my people. It doesn't matter, Maya said, surprised by the bitterness in her own voice. No one listens to people like me. Zara's hand reached out, not quite touching Maya but close enough that she could feel the warmth radiating from the alien skin. Then perhaps it is time for that to change. Your CEO, Ethan Blackwood, he will be at tomorrow's presentation? Yes, but... Good. Zara's smile was enigmatic. I believe tomorrow will be very interesting indeed. Go home, Maya Chen. Rest. Your moment is coming, though perhaps not in the way you expect. Maya left the building in a daze, Zara's words echoing in her mind. She wanted to believe that something could change, that years of being overlooked might finally end. But hope was a dangerous thing for the invisible woman to carry. At home in her tiny apartment, Maya stood before the mirror, really looking at herself for the first time in months. When had she become so small, so afraid to take up space? Her reflection stared back, tired eyes, shoulders curved inward, the posture of someone who'd learned to make herself disappear. Tomorrow Derek would present her work. Tomorrow Ethan Blackwood would walk past her again without seeing her. Tomorrow would be like every other day. Unless Zara was right. Unless tomorrow was the day everything changed. The conference room buzzed with anticipation as the executive team assembled for the Zeprian presentation. Maya sat in her usual spot at the back, notebook clutched in trembling hands, watching Derek command the room with his characteristic arrogance. At the head of the table sat Ethan Blackwood, his dark eyes focused and unreadable, every inch the powerful CEO who'd built this empire from nothing. Maya's breath caught as it always did when she looked at him. Even after 3 years, his presence affected her, the sharp line of his jaw, the way his fingers drummed thoughtfully against the table, the intensity he brought to everything he did. She'd long ago accepted that men like Ethan Blackwood existed in a different universe from women like her. As you can see, Derek was saying, gesturing to the holographic display showing Maya's designs, I've created a revolutionary approach that bridges human and Zeprian aesthetics. The conference room door opened with a soft hiss. Zara entered, her purple skin seeming to glow under the artificial lights, and the room fell silent. She moved with purpose to the head of the table, her gaze sweeping across the faces before settling on Derek with an intensity that made him falter mid-sentence. This is impressive work, Zara said, her voice carrying authority that transcended species. Tell me about your creative process. Derek launched into a rehearsed explanation, but Zara raised a hand, cutting him off. No. Tell me about the color theory here. Why this particular shade of cobalt transitioning to violet? What is the symbolic significance in Zeprian culture? Derek's confidence wavered. Well, it's aesthetically pleasing, Anne. You don't know. Zara's statement wasn't a question. She turned slowly, her eyes scanning the room until they landed on Maya, huddled in the back. You. The woman from last night. Stand up. Every head swiveled toward Maya. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she rose on shaking legs, acutely aware of Ethan's gaze finally landing on her. His brow furrowed slightly, as if trying to place her, and the realization that he didn't even recognize her after 3 years sent a sharp pain through her chest. Tell me about the cobalt to violet transition, Zara commanded gently. Maya's voice emerged barely above a whisper. In Zeprian culture, cobalt represents trust in commerce, while violet signifies respect for tradition. The gradient symbolizes the bridge between our species' business relationship and honoring their ancestral trading customs. The room was utterly silent. Zara smiled, satisfied. And the geometric patterns in the lower quadrant? They mirror the constellation formation of the Zeprian home system as seen from Earth, Maya continued, her voice growing stronger. It's a gesture of recognition, that we see them, we acknowledge where they come from. Ethan leaned forward, his eyes now locked on Maya with sudden, fierce attention. Mess. Chen. Maya Chen, she managed, her cheeks burning under his scrutiny. Miss Chen, how long have you worked here? His voice was deep, controlled, but there was something else beneath it, surprise, perhaps even anger. 3 years, Mr. Blackwood. She watched emotions flicker across his face too quickly to read. Sophia, sitting nearby, squeezed Maya's hand under the table, offering silent support. Zara's voice cut through the tension. I will work only with the true creator of this design. Derek Hamilton, you are dismissed from this project. Maya Chen, you will be lead designer, reporting directly to Mr. Blackwood. These are my terms for the Zeprian Federation's continued partnership with your agency. The room erupted in shocked murmurs. Derek's face flushed crimson. This is outrageous. You can't just. I can, and I have, Zara interrupted, her tone leaving no room for argument. My people value authenticity above all else. We do not conduct business with thieves. Ethan stood, his commanding presence silencing the room. Meeting adjourned. Derek, my office in 1 hour. Ms. Chen, please stay. As the room emptied, Maya felt like she might collapse. Derek shot her a look of pure venom as he stormed out, and Sophia gave her an encouraging thumbs up before slipping through the door. Then it was just her, Ethan, and Zara in the vast conference room. Ethan moved around the table toward her, and Maya forced herself not to retreat. Up close, he was even more overwhelming, tall and broad-shouldered, with an intensity that made her skin prickle with awareness. 3 years, he said quietly, studying her face as if memorizing it. You've been here 3 years, creating work like this, and I never knew your name. I'm not very noticeable, Maya said, hating how small her voice sounded. Something flashed in Ethan's eyes, anger, but not directed at her. That changes now. Zara, thank you for bringing this to light. The alien consultant inclined her head. I will return tomorrow to begin intensive collaboration with Maya. She has a gift that should not be wasted in shadows. With that, Zara glided from the room, leaving Maya alone with the man who'd unknowingly haunted her dreams for 3 years. Ethan gestured to a chair at the head of the table. Please, sit. Maya obeyed, hyper-aware of how close he sat beside her, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something woodsy and expensive. He pulled up her designs on the holographic display, studying them with focus that felt almost physical. Tell me about this, he said, pointing to a detail. Everything. I want to understand your process. For the next 2 hours, Maya talked. At first hesitantly, then with growing confidence as Ethan listened, truly listened, asking intelligent questions, making notes, occasionally leaning closer to examine a detail. Once, reaching for the same holographic control, their hands brushed. The contact was electric. Maya jerked back as if burned, and Ethan's eyes met hers, something unreadable flickering in their depths. The moment stretched between them, charged with an awareness that made Maya's pulse race. I'm sorry, she stammered. I didn't mean. Don't apologize. His voice had dropped lower, rougher. He cleared his throat, pulling back. We'll be working closely together on this project. I want to understand not just your work, but how you think. The next 3 weeks transformed Maya's life beyond recognition. She arrived at the office each morning to find Ethan already in the collaborative workspace they'd established, coffee waiting for her, always prepared exactly how she liked it, though she'd never told him. Somehow, he'd noticed. It was the noticing that undid her. He noticed when she bit her lower lip while concentrating on a difficult design element, and he'd quietly handle interruptions so she could focus. He noticed when she skipped lunch, and food would appear at her elbow. He noticed the small things she'd thought invisible, and being seen by Ethan Blackwood was more intoxicating than any drug. Working with Zara was equally revelatory. The alien woman possessed an otherworldly perspective that pushed Maya's creativity to new heights. During late-night sessions, Zara would share stories of art on her home world, where color and emotion were considered the same language. You and Ethan, Zara observed one evening when Ethan had stepped out to take a call, you orbit each other like binary stars. The pull between you is quite visible to someone with my perceptions. Maya's cheeks flushed. I don't know what you mean. Zara's laugh was like wind chimes. Your species is so charmingly afraid of your own feelings. He watches you when you're not looking. You watch him. The air practically vibrates when you're close. It was true, Maya couldn't deny it. The long hours together had revealed layers to Ethan she'd never imagined. Yes, he was brilliant and driven, but he was also unexpectedly funny, with a dry wit that caught her off guard. He was kind in quiet ways, generous with praise for her team, patient when explaining complex business strategies, fierce in protecting her from the office politics that swirled around her sudden rise. And he touched her. Not inappropriately, but constantly, a hand at the small of her back as they walked, fingers brushing hers when passing documents, standing close enough that she could feel his warmth. Each touch felt deliberate, as if he couldn't quite help himself. But it was Derek's revenge that finally shattered the careful professional distance they maintained. The ambush came during a full company presentation. Maya stood before the assembled staff, walking through the campaign's evolution, when Derek's voice cut through from the back of the room. "I think we should address the elephant in the room," he announced, his voice dripping with false concern. "Maya's sudden promotion. We all know she's been spending an unusual amount of private time with our CEO." The room went deadly silent. Maya felt the blood drain from her face. Derek continued, enjoying his moment. "I'm not suggesting anything inappropriate, of course. But one has to wonder if her work is really that exceptional, or if other factors are at play.